Hey y'all, not really good at any of this, so it's not going to be much of an intro. I guess I'll just start with a little bit of a backstory here. I got COVID again. I believe it was the fifth time. Problem was it was all untested. But anyway, March of last year, I got super sick with COVID for, whatever. My cousin was tested, yada yada, you know the story. Same as usual, didn't really think nothing of it. The, whole week I was sick, it sucked. But, first 3 or 4 days, pretty normal. Hard to breathe, yada yada. And then the last couple days of being sick is when I kind of realized it felt different that time. And then, come day 7, I couldn't stand anymore. I was having just anxiety through the roof. Just kind of a bizarre feeling. And then that escalated into having like heart rate issues, blood pressure issues, not being able to stand, just my poop being messed up, gut issues in general, not being able to eat certain foods, pins and needles through my head 24/7, pain all over. Just anybody that watches this that's familiar with it, and you kind of know how that goes. Mine was interesting because mine pretty much hit right away. Like day 7 is when the initial like being sick kind of ended, and then the other long-term stuff started. And for the first 3 months, that's what it was, man. I lost a lot of weight. The pins and needles in my head were every day, like feeling my heart beating all through my body, not being able to stand. Right, let me preface that. Not being able to stand is a bit of a understatement. I couldn't even sit up. Like if I even moved my arm some days, it would make my heart rate 150. I was pretty much completely bedbound. There was no doing anything really. That lasted for a while, not knowing what it was, and then I happened to stumble across the subreddit for long COVID, and that's when I put 2 and 2 together. And as depressing as that subreddit actually is, I'm pretty grateful for it, because I really think that's what helped me get turned around pretty quick. When I figured out what it was and I was able to research, well, minimal research, it was really hard to look at my phone, but I was able to read enough. That's when I figured out like diet, so anyway, cutting out sugar, like it was crazy because I was drinking Gatorade thinking, oh no. Cutting out sugar, that pretty much got rid of the pins and needles in my head for the most part. So I had to go completely no sugar. Really had to be selective with what I ate. I wasn't even eating bread. Like it was pretty much like eggs and chicken all day. And then I was drinking a ton of water, but then I had cut out the Gatorade too. So I ended up, my heart rate was 140 for like 3 days straight. And I mean like straight. I had bought this Apple or the Samsung watch trying to track them, and nothing I did would bring it down, and I was going cuckoo. Hadn't slept in days. It was bizarre. Anyway, so I went to the hospital, and they gave me they really only gave me 2 things the first time around because they thought I was on drugs. I really did not like that doctor, but they gave me metoprolol, which is a beta blocker, and then they gave me saline. Well, those 2 things were the next step in making me progress. So after that, I got on propranolol because the metoprolol like immediately made me depressed and gave me issues. But it brought my heart rate down, and then the saline. I know this sounds like super stupid, but I just wasn't getting enough electrolytes. Didn't even put that together. Hadn't been diagnosed with POTS yet. Had no idea. I was just drinking water all day long, only water, and that wasn't cutting it. So anyway, once I got that figured out and I started drinking my Pedialyte every day and my liquid IVs every day along with my water and taking the print, well then that was huge for me. I still had a lot of issues, and it took me another couple months of my grandma coming over every single day and helping me slowly sit upright, and then it was really slow. But eventually those 2 things were what allowed me to be back upright And then eventually I was able to start walking. I was eventually able to take a shower, like small stuff. I mean, my parents had to carry me and give me a shower for a while, but then I was able to progress to just sitting on the stool, taking a shower that way. It was really slow. And then the next thing that I did, which I tried to avoid this at all costs, but it just got to the point I ended up having to get on anxiety medicine because it was just the constant adrenaline dumps and just being out of this world worked up. I mean, it was degrading me mentally really bad. So I didn't want to do anything addictive or whatever it is. I'm not a super knowledgeable in that, so I'm not going to pretend like I know. But I didn't want to do an SSRI. I didn't want to do an SNRI if I could avoid those. So pretty much the only option I had was Buspirone, whatever you want to call it. And that took a little while to kick in, but that was a huge help as well. I had some side effects with it, but I stuck through it, and it ended up being actually pretty good. The first like 6 months I was on it, I felt a lot better, and I was able to kind of, I don't know, I thought I was on the path to getting better. I really did. And then I got a mystery flu in October, the actual flu in November, what it was, and then I got COVID again in January, and that kind of reset me a lot. So a lot of the stuff I had previously had came back. The fatigue had never left, but I really thought that it was slowly improving, and the fatigue hit me like a pile of bricks again. That really hasn't eased up. I mean, I feel blessed. I'm probably more able than quite a few people that I read about, but also like I'm pretty debilitated day to day compared to a normal person. So I'd say I probably average between like 2,000 and 4,000 steps a day. When I was first sick, it was 0 steps a day, and then after I kind of got going, like getting to 1,000 was huge for me. And then I had like a 6,000 step day, I think, before I got reinfected, and I wasn't terribly bad off of that. And then now, like if I overdo it, I'm in bed for a week, like easily. So I pretty much just try and be super cautious about it. And amongst other things, I mean, the fatigue is probably my biggest problem now. I still have food intolerance. I still have to take my medicine every day, and I carry a backpack with me everywhere I go for all the supplements that I take, because that was what I tried first, and some of them helped, but nothing's been a surefire help or cure or whatever. But the hardest part through all this has definitely been just the straight up gaslighting. I mean, from people, friends, doctors. I mean, God, the doctors, it just my family doctor I've had since I was a little kid was adamant and only ever willing to say that it was anxiety. And that made me mad. But I listened, I said, okay, I'll do what you say, but after I do all this, if it doesn't help, like, are you willing to try other stuff to help me? Oh yeah, absolutely. So okay, our therapist, psychiatrist, start on anxiety meds, do whatever. Okay, cool, I did all that. Are you feeling any better? Nope. It's like I still had to get carried here today. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty, I don't know. And the weight issue, I don't know how somebody could look. I mean, it was bad. The GI doctor, same problem. Oh, you just need to take some probiotics. It's like, okay. It was bad. I only had one doctor that I thought was really helpful, and that was the one who gave me the propranolol and did the POTS stuff and whatnot. But even like the cardiologist was pretty much useless. They were all bad. The amount of them that said, long COVID doesn't exist. Like some people, post-viral this, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. At that time, maybe that was the correct answer or whatever. But the fact that they were so unwilling to acknowledge my issues or what caused it was insane. I mean, they were like, it was insane. Yeah. So that made me a little angry. But that's kind of where we got to the point. I'm lucky. I have a really good family that really has helped a lot. And me and my mom pretty much were like, okay, we're just going to have to try and figure this out on our own. We'll try this, we'll try that, yada, yada. And that's why this supplement, that supplement, this diet, that diet, whatever. And like I said, I've definitely made improvements. I mean, I'm much better now. It's just I have such a long way to go, but I am better. But I guess I'm just rambling at this point because there's so much that is missing in that span of time. I mean, I still have so many issues, and I had so many issues. It's a list that's ridiculously long. But anyway, throughout my research, the one thing that I kept coming to was low dose naltrexone. And every doctor I asked for it looked at me like I was an absolute, looked at me like an absolute fucking moron. My psychiatrist got like mad at me and then tried to put me on anti-mania medicine, so he was gone. That was insane to me. From his point of view, he had only ever heard of it for alcohol and drug addiction. It made no sense, blah, blah, okay, sure. My general doctor was like, oh, I can't prescribe that because of, I don't even remember it. Every doctor I went to, like all 5 of them, just no, one thing after another. Didn't make any sense to me. Anyway, I wanted a doctor to oversee it. So I was asking, hey, my general doctor, my new one, I'm like, hey, will you just, prescribe it to me, blah, blah, blah. Like, otherwise I'm just going to do it on my own, but I'd rather do absolute unwilling. So anyway, here I am today, Ageless RX. From what I read, it was pretty much the best option, so that's what I did. I also was reading about, fillers and how you take it, amounts you take it, yada, yada. So Ageless RX uses sucrose, which seems to be the most tolerable filler, and so whatever. That's the route I went. And I told myself that I would try and document it as best I could, because this was kind of like a big step for me. Also made me super nervous. I'm still nervous about it. I think most people are, but this is kind of my last hope. I had gotten to the point where I'm at that point. I'm done. I mean, it's only been a year. Well, it's been like a year and a half now, but it's only been a year, and not a life worth living. So, if I can get any quality of life back, if I can go back to any amount of work, if I can be any amount of a father, that would be amazing. So, this is where we're at. I took my first one yesterday. I was pretty nervous. I know that headaches is a common one. I think that partially has to do with what filler it has. I didn't have a headache. The next thing they talked about as a common side effect is insomnia. I definitely had that. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but I took it in the evening before bed like it says. And yeah, I didn't sleep last night. I didn't sleep until like midday today. It was pretty rough. And then I slept for a really long time, like 12 hours, and then I woke up and still kind of tired, honestly. Still pretty tired. But I feel okay. So I'm going to stick with it. I got a ways to go. I know it seems like 2 to 3 days of upping the dose or starting at all is probably the roughest part. So I'm going to stick with it. I'll probably be up all night. Yay, right? So yeah, I'm gonna try and document it. I know for people like me, taking medicine in general, especially new medicine, is like beyond nerve-wracking. When I was a teenager, it didn't bother me a bit, but the older I got, the more it's like, oh. So I really don't like taking medicine. But it comes to a point where it's like, what's worth it more to you, being complacent and in pain or taking a risk? I mean, the risk is it can always make you worse. Not everybody's the same. I mean, there's always that chance, right? But for me, things are so shit right now. I mean, I'm pretty much willing to risk whatever, as long as it has somewhat statistically good chance of helping me. I'll try it. So yeah. I mean, I'm gonna try and keep this updated. This one, I guess it is an intro in the end. This was more of me just rambling, giving some backstory on why I'm taking it. I know people take it for a lot of different reasons. Long COVID is relatively new in this space compared to most autoimmune diseases or people that have had CFS for decades from other post-viral or whatever. So this is a little bit newer, but if anything, it's for me. I don't really care if anybody watches it. If they do, if you have questions, if you want, sure, great, totally willing. But it's mainly for me. My short-term memory is so bad ever since I got sick that documenting is hard. I don't like writing. I don't like talking in front of a camera either, but I don't ever seem to shut up, so talking is a little bit easier than having to write while my hand shakes like crazy. So yeah, this is the long one, but the rest of these videos should be a lot shorter. I'm just gonna try and update. So I guess to recap, oh, I'll add this in. I chose the smaller dose to start with. I'm on 0.5, and I'm not gonna titrate down. I'm gonna do the 0.5 as long as I don't have any issues. So that's what I'm starting at, is 0.5. And like I said, to recap, I really didn't have any side effects. I would say a little bit of insomnia. I'm a little groggy. I mean, I don't know. Taking new medicines, like, that stuff's gonna happen. I didn't have any bad side effects. I didn't have anything that was like, holy crap. Even the nausea. I mean, normally medicine makes me nauseous in general, but the nausea only lasted for like 30 minutes. I mean, like, the first hour after I took it, I definitely felt a little funky, but that went away pretty quick, and then I felt pretty fine. I don't really notice any benefits or anything, but they said this stuff can take a while to kick in. So overall, I'm just happy that I didn't have any super major issues. So we're gonna stick it out. We're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna try and keep this updated. Probably I should do it daily if I was, but anybody that is sick like I'm sick knows some days it just ain't gonna happen. So we'll see how it goes. I really hope that I get some improvement, and I really hope that I can share that with you guys, and if it works how I hope it works, maybe you guys can try it and hopefully see some improvement as well. So I don't know where I'm gonna film at usually. This is my truck because my son's eating dinner, my wife's taking a shower, and I wanted to come outside for a minute. So maybe it'll be here, maybe it'll be there. Not really 100% sure where we're gonna usually do this, but speaking of, my wife is calling me, so I guess that's my time. So all right, y'all. I'll see you in the next one.